here's the definition of sustainability. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about this because this is something that's become more of a, I guess, hot topic recently in recent years in things like the political aspect and like something people actually talk about. So just to rephrase it, meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This definition came from the International Institute for Sustainable Development. And a lot of what it is it's thinking about the future, and because everything we do now has an impact on the future, and it's about thinking about that in a way that you want to make sure that what we're doing won't harm the future and the future generations. It's something that's been drawn to light a lot more because we're becoming a lot aware of the impact we have as a society and population, and we have concern for the future. So it's something that's more common. Now, I have another quote here that I wanted to talk about, which is, we don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. So sustainability can be applied in many different ways. This quote is referring specifically to waste, so garbage. What this is attempting to say is that we don't need like a small group of people doing it perfectly. It's if you tried to do it, it's not easy. Like, go through your garbage and see if you can find a use for something, or see if everything can be recycled. That's not realistic, and it's not easy. But everyone, or everyone in our society, millions of people trying to be more sustainable, trying to buy things that don't have as much like garbage left over, or things that can be recycled, or actually trying to recycle, makes a difference. And that's what we, are hoping to do long term. So sustainability occurs on two levels that I sort of broke down into: the individual level and a societal level. An individual level is something that anyone can do at an individual. Okay, well, that's a bad idea. That's a bad way of phrasing it. But it's sort of like a personal change or a habit. Things that, like turning the lights off in your room, stopping your car from idling, like turning off your car. Things like that make a difference. I mean, we talked about how much water is wasted when you leave a faucet dripping. Things like that are really easy to change, and it's something that any one person could do on a daily basis. A societal level is not as easy. You have to advocate for it. You have to basically get people to care and get people concerned, things of that variety. But it's usually a bit on a societal level, it's harder to bring about the change, I'd say, usually, because it takes more time. But at the same time, it's still important to advocate and encourage it. The example is cars idling, which is basically when your car is parked for a period of time and the engine's on running using gas. There's no reason for it to do it. I mean, even if you're sitting there, you could it's wasting gas, and it's one of those things where most people don't want to be inhaling it normally. So that's why it's a law, but it also does help save, fuel, money, things like that, things of that variety. So one easy way to be more sustainable is getting a reusable bottle. And the picture on the left, you can see different kinds. There are different ones that are smaller, more compact. Some are taller. They can have different designs. They can be made of different things. Some are even made of plastic. The reason why getting a reusable bottle is a really good way to be more sustainable is because on Stony Brook University, we have these water bottle refill stations. So you can easily refill them. And at the end of the day, you don't have any garbage from drinking water, as opposed to when you buy the large, 24 or 48 packs at the store, which my family used to do a lot. So it's something that's good. You can do it, and they're usually not too expensive. So one of the good things about this is that in the picture on the right, you should be able to recognize this type of refill station because we have them on Stony Brook. And in the right-hand corner of the thing, there's a little green bar with a number. That actually keeps count of how many plastic water bottles have been saved by refilling. Now, it's not always going to tick up because, as you can see in the picture, it's that some bottles are smaller, and so it keeps track of how much water is used. But what we started to do is that there's a water bottle research project on campus, which is basically we went around and we collected the number from this, and we recorded other things about it. But the number of plastic bottles saved, and we recorded it, and then we compiled the data and took a look at it. So that was where that question from the Kahoot thing, that was where the question from the Kahoot came from. So there we go. So this is the data that I had access to, the most recent data. This is the total plastic water bottles saved in the fall of 2019. And what you can see is that so first of all, there are a lot of stations all across the campus, places where you can refill them. Something is that the SAC right here, the Javits Center right here, and the Melville Library on the first floor all have really high bars. That might be because they were installed first. I don't actually know. But they also have a lot of foot traffic. Those areas are also usually, very populated in terms of us students being in the vicinity. So it makes sense for them to be higher. But with this, we can see the total number of plastic water bottles that have been saved. And I think one of the things that's actually kind of nice is that this data is incomplete in regards to that. There are more stations that we just don't know about. So before we had to move out, I was dorming in West. And there was actually a refill station in the Commons area that I did not know was there. And it wasn't available for this data set or the next one because I didn't find out it was there until I was leaving. But it's something that this number is higher. Now, I don't have the exact number, but just looking at some of the larger bars on that graph, we know that the number is somewhere over 200,000 plastic water bottles. And that's a pretty significant number. It's not the end. People still use them, but it's something. It's a change, and it helps. So, yeah. All right, I believe... Okay.
Yeah, this is me.
Yeah. If anyone has any questions... Oh, there's two things in the chat. Where are the selfies? So someone posted in the chat, it's Professor Donna Selch. She's actually one of the ones that runs the thing. I couldn't find the selfies, but I was considering it. But yeah, so these are on campus, and you can see them whenever we get back on campus. Okay, Kat, I'm gonna make you the host.
Thank you. I think during my presentation, if anyone had questions for Orlando, you can just put them in the chat while I'm talking, and he can look them over and maybe try to answer them in the chat.
Yeah, Kat, you're the host now.
Okay, great. All right, sorry, let me just...
No pressure.
Yeah. There we go, share screen. Okay, let me do this. All right, you're gonna have to bear with it while I move it into presentation mode. I'm sorry, my computer screen is very small. Okay, so I'm going to talk about advocating from home. So in order to advocate from home for the environment, the first thing you should do is try to get informed. Choose a news source that you trust. Some news sources like NBC, BBC, and the New York Times have specific climate or environmental sections. And websites like allsides.com will help you learn the political leanings of a news source so you can gauge some of its bias. The EPA can also be a good source of information, and later on I'm going to show you how to access their press and news releases in order to see that information as well. So this is a picture from All Sides, and you can see some of the political leanings of different news sources right here, and if you go to their website, this chart will be available. Okay, so I'm going to show you a lot of how to navigate different websites. A lot of it is going to be very detail-oriented, so just bear with me. I will try to go through it relatively quickly. So this is going to be showing you how to navigate to the environmental section of a news source. So for this example, I'm going to use the New York Times. See, if you go to the New York Times, you want to look at this top bar where it says science. And then from there, you'll come to this page, which is a science page. You'll want to click on climate. You're particularly looking for climate-oriented news. And then you'll come to a page that says climate and the environment, and you'll see that there's a bunch of different stories here that you can look at. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to navigate EPA. So if you go to epa.gov, you want to scroll down on the main page until you get to this gray box, and then you're looking for a column that says Connect. And then from Connect, you want to go down to what says Newsroom. I have it highlighted here. And then once you click on Newsroom, you'll come to a page that looks a little like this. I've scrolled down a little bit on this page, so you can do that too. And then you'll come to what says Press Materials, and under that you want to go to All News Releases. And once you get there, you'll see that there's a lot of different titles and release dates, and these are the press releases from the EPA. These are directly from the mouth of the EPA, the things they want you to know about what they are doing right now. So if you click on one of them, you'll come to this kind of page, which is just a few paragraphs kind of just telling you what they're doing straight from the horse's mouth. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about exploring local politics. So local politics are really important because local politics affects what you're doing right now. While things on a higher level, like in Congress, affect the entire nation in a lot of ways, your local politics, like your municipality, will affect your day-to-day life every single day and can make a big difference to your community. So one way to get involved with that is to view your local government meetings so you know what's going on. So the time and agendas of these upcoming meetings can often be found through a quick Google search. And if you can't or don't want to view the meetings, you can just read over the agendas. I'm going to show you how to do that. And also a lot of those meetings are recorded, so you can kind of just look at them, maybe scroll through them for the information that you are interested in, like their environmental agendas. Especially if you can see the agenda, you can kind of estimate what time they'll have gone over that. And then you can, browse your local government's websites, kind of see what initiatives they have going on and see how you can get involved. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to navigate to your local city council's environmental agenda. I used my hometown of Hoboken, New Jersey. I also did this for, I think it was East Setauket, New York. And it's a very similar process, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So you first want to Google the name of your city, followed by city council meeting agenda. You might put the state. I didn't need to. Hoboken's a pretty unique name. And then you're going to come to your Google search. So you're looking for something that indicates that it's meetings. You might have to look around a little bit, but the page you're ultimately looking for is this page. Not all of them are blue, but all of them have this kind of the seal of your city, the name of your city, this sort of website setup. They all kind of look like this. So this is what you're looking for. And then you want to scroll down to kind of the date that you want to look at. And then you're looking for agenda. Don't focus on agenda packet too much. At least for my city, it's called agenda packet, but there's going to be like, probably for most municipalities will be one that talks a lot about like where the money is coming from for different things. And you're not really concerned with that. You're a lot more concerned with like what they're voting on. So you're looking for agenda. Once you click on agenda, you'll come to a document like this. Sorry, I just had to admit someone. Hi, new person. Okay, so right now I'm just going over advocacy at home. So you'll come to a page like this, and this page shows you all the resolutions that your city council should be voting on that week. So, we have resolution awarding a professional service contract, blah, blah, blah. So they'll, talk about that during the meeting and they'll yay or nay it, or they might pass it. Sometimes they don't vote on it that time. So that just basically tells you everything that's going on in your local municipality at the moment. And you can also visit congress.gov to view the latest legislation and kind of get to know things on like a higher level outside your municipality. So we're going to go ahead and navigate to congress.gov. And then once you get there, you're going to want to search a keyword. So for this, we used environment. If you know a little bit more about the particular legislation you're looking for, you might search a different keyword, but environment is a good place to start. So once you search environment, you'll get to a page like this. And you can see that there's titles of different legislation that are currently being introduced, or sometimes they're in the House or the Senate right now. So you'll see those are highlighted in yellow. And then the links to see more about these are highlighted in blue. So once you click on one of those links, you'll come to something like this. And basically you can see who's sponsoring that bill under sponsor, like what committee it's in, though that isn't really your concern. I wouldn't worry about that. Mostly you're worried about the sponsor. And you can see their name and their party and the state that they're from. And then you can also see where we have sponsor here, go down in the page and there'll be these tabs. So if you click on co-sponsors, you can see everyone else who's also sponsoring that bill. And that's just basically everyone who's signing on to it. It's a bunch of people saying, I support this. And if you click on one of the names of those people, you'll come up to a page kind of like this. I don't really know who this person is. I just picked on her because she was there. No kind of political affiliation with it. But you can see their state. You can see which house they're in, like House or Senate. And then you can see their website and their contact information if you want to send them a letter, or their phone number if you want to make a phone call, and also their party. So after you kind of find out about what kind of legislation you want to support, or tell a senator or a House representative that you don't support, you can write some emails or make some phone calls. You can also tweet at them. I think is now an actual option. So that's something that you can do. So this is how you find the contact information of your representatives to actually do that. So I used govtrack.us. And if you go to govtrack.us and you scroll down on the page, you'll come to something that looks like this. It says find your representatives and senators. And if you enter your home address and click go, you'll come to a page like this. And this basically lists for your area, all your senators, all your House representatives. I think there's also the people who represent your municipality, so your city, and their phone numbers and contact information. So you'll see here's like their Twitter handles, the website, and the phone numbers. So that's how you can get their contact information. Okay, so once you have that contact information, the thing that you want to do is send them an email or make a phone call and make sure that you include this information. You want to include your name, you want to include your address so they know you're actually a constituent of their area, and you want to be polite, say, dear Senator, dear Representative, and say, as your constituent, I am asking you to support or rescind your support if you don't like the bill of the name or number of that particular bill. And then thank them for their time. You can add any information that is important to you if you know more about the bill, if you know how it's relevant to you in particular, but that's not completely necessary. And the reason you want to do this is because these emails, phone calls, even tweets at these representatives count. So at some point, someone counts up, probably an intern, a tally of all the people who support or oppose that bill. And this motivates those representatives to support or oppose the bill based on what you said, because you are a constituent. So based on what constituents are saying about that bill, because oftentimes they want to get reelected. So they will go towards what their constituents want to get a better election outcome. So this is just kind of going over what I just talked about. So you want to get informed. You want to explore local politics as a good option. Get involved in your municipality. You can visit congress.gov to learn about legislation, environmental legislation right now. Then you want to write some emails, make some phone calls, or use social media to be part of that tally for or against a piece of legislation. Okay, now I have to turn this over to George, which, oh boy, give me a second. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I have to make this big again. Oh no. Oh,
do
guys. We practiced this too. I'm just a bit of a boomer. Let's see. Can I make
George the host?
Yeah.
You're gonna make me
I was gonna make you the host for a second because I couldn't find it, but I found George. We're good. I'm making him the host.
Okay.
Exactly. There we go.
There we go. Got it.
Okay.
Also, this information will be like emailed out at a later point, so it is a lot of information. So don't worry about it. Just try to
follow along.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Hang on 1 second. Let me get to the slide. Yeah, sorry, technical difficulty.
Oh, there, I had to stop my share. Sorry. There we go.
Okay.
That's important.
Yep.
Yeah, just a little.
Sorry, I'm a bit of a boomer.
Okay. Let me get to the slide. It is... Sorry about this. Technical difficulties. Almost there. Okay. 1 moment.
If you have questions for Kat about her presentation, you can leave them in the chat, or if you so desire, yeah, and then she'll answer them.
Yeah, so if anyone has questions, just put them in the chat or unmute yourself and we can answer them. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my part now. Hi, my name is George. I'm going to talk a little bit about holding people accountable for what they're supposed to be doing. So when people are elected to office, you should always try to contact them and make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So a lot of people get elected and they kind of slack off. They figure they've already been elected. They don't really have to do their job as much. But it's important for them to still continue to do what they're supposed to do. So we talked a bit about how to contact your local representatives and your senators to ask them what they're doing and to voice your concern or support about a bill. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about what you could do with your local organizations and see what they're doing to be more sustainable. And so you can call them or email them to get more information, or you can visit this website over here that I have to find more information about your county and its policies. So if you click that link, it'll take you to this website. It'll look like this. You're going to scroll down a little bit to find local elected officials. Once you're there, you're going to click city, county, and town officials. So once you click that, you're going to find the local government section. So you're going to search for your state in the scroll bar. So you click the little arrow, the down arrow, find your state that you live in, you click go. And then once you find your state, you can select your county and find the contact information of the offices of the county. So I'm going to use the county that I live in. I live in Nassau County. So here I have two options. So I can click visit site. So visit site will take me directly to the website of the county. And then clicking on the blue Nassau County, that'll take me to the information, more general information about the county, not necessarily their website. So clicking on the blue Nassau County will take you to a page that looks like this. And it has a brief overview of the county, some information about it, some history about it. And then over here, you can click the website to get to the actual website. And then if you want, you can click the contacts tab for the contact information for the office. So once you click that, it'll show you the phone number of the office, and it'll show you the address of the office. So if you want to send them mail, you can contact them through there as well. They also have their Facebook account listed there too. So if you want to hit up their Facebook and contact them through there, you can do that as well. So as I said before, you can also click on the website tab to get more detailed information. Every county's website is going to look different, so I'm not really going to show you my county's website because everything is going to look different. But every website should have a section about sustainability or environment if your county is actually doing something about that. Now, interestingly, my county, Nassau County, is actually not really doing anything with the environment or sustainability, because I looked on their website and I looked at the different divisions of the government and the different sections and organizations, and there was nothing that had to do with the environment or sustainability. So if I wanted to write a formal complaint about that, I would go on their website, go look up their contact information, and look up the representative or the local officials that live there in Nassau County, and I would complain to them. So now I'm going to talk about some small changes that you can do to increase your sustainability efforts in everyday life. So one small thing you could do is you can make small dietary changes in your life. So some things you could do, I have a chart on the left over here, a graphic that describes how much water is needed to produce 1 kilogram of food. And the numbers listed next to each picture of the food is in liters. So as you can see, it takes around 15,415 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of beef. So that water comes from both the production of the food, but it also comes with the cattle is gonna eat a lot of grass. You have to water the grass. The cattle is going to need to drink, so you have to provide water for the cattle to drink as well. So the water comes from a lot of different sources, and it all adds up to a lot of water for a very small amount of food. So instead of eating beef, try eating pork or poultry to reduce water usage, because both of them use less water than beef. Lean meats over red meats, because lean meats are better. They have a better source of protein as well, so they're better. They're healthier for you too. Chicken and turkey are better than beef and lamb because they also use less water. Also, locally grown vegetables like tomatoes or potatoes have a low carbon footprint because the more locally grown you get your food from, the less carbon has to be emitted to transport the food from one area to another. So there are a lot of local farms on Long Island. You can always look them up. Google a list of like farms on Long Island, or that's where I live. And like one of them is called Heartbeat Farms. It's right by Stony Brook University. They actually deliver some food. So if you want, you can call them and you can ask them to deliver some produce to you. So that's a good option for food. So next I'm going to talk a little bit about food waste reduction. So this is a pretty big issue. Over 33% of food in the United States, worldwide, 33% of food produced worldwide is wasted. So one way to solve this is to take smaller portions. So if you take smaller portions, if you're at a big buffet, it might be tempting to fill your plate with as much food as you can possibly fit on there. But you know you're probably not going to eat all of the food. So if you take a smaller portion, you're going to be more likely to finish your food and waste less food. If you store your food properly, that's also a good thing to do. Some food needs to be refrigerated, others need to be stored at room temperature. So there's like a lot of people store food that does not need to be refrigerated. They store it in the refrigerator, like bread. People think that bread in the refrigerator is going to make it last longer, but in reality, it makes it go stale much more quickly. So it's not a good idea to store foods that don't need to be refrigerated in the refrigerator. Another option you can do is to declutter your pantry. So when you buy new food, what you should do is put the newest food in the back and bring the oldest food to the front. That way the older food does not expire. So if you buy new food and you just put it in the front of your pantry, you're going to forget about the food that's in the back of the pantry. And then by the time you remember that it's there, it's going to be expired and you're going to have to throw it out and then you've wasted more food. Okay, now I'm going to pass this off to Jesenia.
Hi everyone, my name is Jesenia Laureano and I'm going to be talking about the things you can do in your everyday life to be more sustainable. So a sentence that has been said to me a lot is, I want to help the earth, but I'm broke, aka I want to be sustainable, but I'm broke. The first things first is that you should know you are not alone in this issue. Every small decision you make is going to be part of the bigger picture of sustainability. Therefore, by purchasing sustainable things or doing small sustainable actions, you're going to create a higher demand for sustainable products. Even if it's simply using the water fountain over and over again with your refillable water bottle, or using a reusable bag instead of a plastic bag, minimum once a week. You don't realize that by refusing one plastic bag every week, you refuse 52 plastic bags. And if you and your friend does that, then that adds up to 100 bags, and it creates this entire chain reaction that tells the owner of the store or the owner of the mall that the sustainable options are in higher demand and they might invest in them more. The next thing I want to talk about is being gradual is better than doing everything at once. There's a lot of zero waste stores all over the place popping up now that give the illusion of needing to buy a lot of sustainable things in order to be sustainable. While these options are better than the disposable ones, it doesn't mean that you need to go and buy everything all at once. Really, what these stores are supposed to be are a sustainable option when you run out of the things you already have in your home that might not work anymore. Po Buddy's Nerfic, I don't know if anybody watches The Office. Cam said it. I thought it was a good quote. It kind of just reminds you that nobody's really perfect. I think this philosophy applies heavily to sustainability because people should not beat themselves up for having to buy one plastic water bottle. They were really thirsty that one time and they forgot the reusable water bottle. I'm here to tell you that it's okay if you have to go out and do this, or you forget your reusable bags. No matter like all these people that are shown doing sustainability perfect, like it doesn't mean that like everyone should beat themselves up for doing it perfectly. It really just means that just try your best, and your best is enough in the sustainable world. The last thing I want to talk about is being creative with the stuff that you already have in your possession. My family reuses old t-shirts as mops to wipe the floor with. we reuse Ziploc bags when the things in them, we don't need to use them anymore. I think it's really good to just look around your house and do a deep clean and see the stuff that can be repurposed, because at the end of the day, like, the most sustainable option is using the stuff you already have. Throughout the next slide, I'm going to be talking about some of the simple switches that you could make, but gradually. Everything that I will tell you about, like the different sustainable products, are all a very gradual process. Like, I think I've been on this sustainable journey for maybe like 5-10 years, and I don't even have a lot of these stuff, you know? So the first thing that you can use in your kitchen is the faucet. Again, we talked about dripping in the old Kahoot. Your faucet dripping could cost you 5 gallons a day. And it's just a very simple thing that if you're in a rush, you might not realize that you're wasting water. It's just something to like double check over with. The next thing is glass Tupperware. It's taken me a few years actually to make the switch from plastic Tupperware to glass Tupperware. Even now, I still have some plastic Tupperware that I've given a new life to. So I have a giant broken plastic Tupperware in my kitchen that's being repurposed to store and organize my water bottles. The glass Tupperware also is a lot easier to use, easier to clean. You could put it in the oven, dishwasher safe, and your food won't leave the weird stains that plastic Tupperware does. So overall, I like plastic Tupperware more. And the next thing is Ziploc bags. As mentioned before, I reuse a lot of my Ziploc bags. I use it for my makeup, use it to organize my pencils, use it to store my food in. They do have the option of silicone Ziploc plastic bags, but I think that it's better to just use the Ziploc bags you already have in your home than to go out and buy all of these reusable Ziploc bags. This is a silicone sponge. It's a really easy alternative to use than those normal green and yellow sponges. You can throw this in the dishwasher, you can throw it in the laundry. It won't get smelly and catch food as easily as normal sponges do. And my family just made the switch during Christmas. I got everyone sponges and they were really excited about it, and they're still in use right now. And the last thing I want to talk about that you can use in the kitchen is a French press. It's really easy to use. I personally don't taste coffee, but my whole family does, and they say the coffee tastes better from the French press. And it saves you all the filters. So in the bathroom, there's actually like a lot of alternatives you could use. The first one is a reusable makeup cloth. It's pictured here. It's super soft. It's a great alternative to the Neutrogena makeup wipes. But of course, this doesn't mean go out and buy one of these. It just means you could use a handkerchief or something soft, and you don't realize that you can just use that to take off your makeup instead of like the disposable makeup wipes that really aren't good for your face anyway. The next thing is a safety razor. While these are intimidating because it has an actual razor in it, it's harder to cut yourself on one of these than a normal plastic razor, and then you don't have all the plastic alternatives. The only thing that you change is the razor itself. And those are super, super cheap. It's probably like $1 for a pack of 50 of them, and they last a lot longer than plastic razors anyway, and you get a cleaner shave. The next thing is a toothbrush. You've probably seen a lot of bamboo toothbrushes. They're becoming very popular. They are compostable, but something that doesn't get spoken about that often is the bristles in the toothbrush themselves are made of plastic. So you cannot compost the bristles, and you have to take them out before you throw it in the compost. What I do is I just take pliers and I just rip them out, and it's a lot easier than it sounds. It took me maybe like a minute or two to just take all the bristles out. And the last thing I want to talk about that you can use in the bathroom are like reusable menstrual products. There's the Thinx period undies, and then there's the Diva cup. This will save you over like $120 a year, and they last you as long as a normal pair of underpants will last you. and the Diva Cup lasts you 10 years. On Amazon is where I bought mine, and it cost about $15 for 2 of them. So years done. Like, I just found it's really cheap and it's really easy to use, and you can put it in for up to 12 hours. And the last thing I'm going to talk about being sustainable is just in your life. The first one being a search engine called Ecosia. This search engine, while it's not as advanced as Google, for your basic normal searches, it's great, and they use the ad revenue from each search to plant trees around the world. The next thing is advocacy, whether it's like climate change memes on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or a random article you found in the New York Times. There's a lot of resources that you can just put on your social media that won't make you feel preachy. I think it's important to just talk about sustainability in your everyday life without being preachy, and through your actions, the people around you will see that maybe a sustainable option is good. And I want to bring it back to what I said before, is like, it's not good to like beat yourself up if you're not doing it perfectly. If your friend decides to go and get a reusable makeup cloth, like, applaud them, because that's one less thing that they're contributing to the landfill. And I think it's very important that you're not preachy, but you show more things through your actions, and like in a funny way to everyone. And the last thing is cutlery. I did not put this in the kitchen because what I did when I did not want to spend like $15 on a bamboo cutlery set that was really pretty from a zero waste store, I just grabbed a cloth napkin, grabbed some utensils from my kitchen, and then just threw them in there, and that was my reusable cutlery set. Again, it's about being like creative, and yes, I don't bring this everywhere I go, but I bring it places as much as I can and as much as I remember, and it always makes people like realize like, oh, you do that, that's really cool, like I guess I should start doing it. And a couple people in my life have actually started doing it because they keep seeing me like bring it, and I didn't have to be like, hey, you should really bring this cutlery. They just saw it through my actions, and then they decided to do it a couple times too. I think it's really important. Yeah. Okay.
Cool, that's me now. Cool, I'm the host. I have the power. Oh, Jesenia, can you just stop sharing your screen, please?
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen.
Oh, now you are. Yes.
There we go.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
And okay. Well, sorry, there was a spider in my view, and I almost yelled at everyone, but I didn't.
I mean, I would have run away, so.
I
Way to stay put.
Listen, there was fear in my heart.
Like, I don't
Okay.
kill them, but I wouldn't have.
I listen, you get to live. All right, so hi, my name is Myra, and I apologize in advance. It is 5 o'clock, so if you do need to go, that is fine. I will try my best to wrap this up under 10-15 minutes of my section, essentially, and I am the last section. So I'm going to talk to y'all about about reducing your carbon footprint online. So we're doing a lot of online shopping since, you know, the pandemic hit. So how are we going to go about minimizing consumerist waste? Because I know, me personally, I've been looking at a lot of things online, and if my wallet was any bigger, I would be buying lots and lots of things, just because it's just so simple. So the thing I'm going to focus on, essentially, I want to focus on, there are so many different consumerist cycles. There's, you know, electronics, you know, we buy a new electronic, we upgrade our phones, but I want to focus specifically on fast fashion. Fast fashion, essentially, in a nutshell, is a consumerist cycle, and it's going when you go straight from the runway to H&M, Forever 21, whatever, and we are just going through these cycles over and over again. And the average consumer bought 60% more clothing in 2014 than in 2000, but kept each garment for half as long, We are going through more clothes and keeping them for less time, and it's contributing to waste. Now, aside from just like having more clothes and then throwing them in the landfill or whatever, it also has an environmental impact. 700 gallons of water, a third of a pound of pesticides. Like, these are like just for a t-shirt. That's crazy. So what can you do? There's online thrift stores. I want to note, Plato's Closet is not online, but Kat said they're cool, so I put it in. And then Thrift Books is not clothing, obviously, but I like to buy books more than clothes, and I use them for, instead of buying $20 for a book, I spend $5. It's great. And Depop and Poshmark are pretty cool. They exist like, just like if you're swiping on Instagram, it's the same type of concept, and people just put their clothes up and you're like, oh, that sounds cool. And then ThredUp is more of like a traditional thrift store, but it's just in an online format. And these are other ones as well. But, so this is not to say, get rid of your closet and buy all new clothes secondhand. But if you are going to, like, obviously, to stop fast fashion, reusing and buying less clothing and investing in higher quality clothing is the best way to go about it. But if you do need to get rid of some clothing, I just threw some organizations that you might want to donate to. I just want to, the Retreat is a local women's shelter to me, and they are great, especially in these trying times. Domestic violence rates are increasing heavily due to quarantine. So, like, in general, these places need stuff. So check out your local men and women's shelter. They probably could use a donation if you can't use it anymore. You want to give it a second life. So I just said high quality. Does that mean you should go run to your local Gucci store and start buying things and not have any money left? No, it just means take the time to, when you go into a store, whether that's a thrift store or whatever store you choose, I'm not here to judge you. It just means take not only like money monetarily, but also take the time to look at what you're buying. These are some quick points from a fantastic French designer named Jesenia Laureano. I definitely pronounced that wrong, but you know, it's fine. And she will be linked at a later point. She has a bunch of videos on fast fashion, and I just took a couple of video stills just to elaborate some points. So this essentially is, she's essentially saying, like, this doesn't move with your body. If you want a shirt that's going to move with your body, this is obviously difficult to do in an online setting because you can't physically try on clothes. But when we do get back outside and I can see the sunlight again, you can try on clothes in the store, and it should fit your body well. And then this is, okay. So I want to talk about this real quick. So the whole point of sustainability is not, like, we have this idea of like zero waste, right? Like, create as little waste as possible, and that is good, but also it's to do things right the first time. This applies to a lot of things in life, but especially to sustainability. So with this shirt, right, this is a straight, oh, my nose is, oh, there we go. So that is a straight cut. This is a good cut. You can tell the designer, the manufacturer took at least some care into making a good cut shirt. When you have like Forever 21, H&M, like big manufacturers like that, they're going to maximize the amount of cloth they can use, and it will be at the expense of a good shirt. So yes, maybe this one will create a little bit of extra fabric left over, but that shirt is cut well versus that shirt that is not cut well, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is what I mean here. If you look at the shirt when you're in the store, this is like a bad cut. It is sideways, it is not straight, and it's a result of bad fashion. It won't last as long because it wasn't properly cut. And also, as you're looking at these shirts and stuff, look at the seams. That looks ugly. No offense to whoever made it, but you can tell that it was not last, it's not lying flat, and it's going to not last you as long. You want a seam that looks clean, and even using a little bit of extra fabric to reinforce the stitching. And this is, again, hitting this point home. these, like this over here, this is these are temporary stitches, they will undo, versus this person, this designer, this company used a little bit of extra fabric to reinforce whatever stitchings they had. You don't want temporary, like this skirt is temporary and it will last you maybe like, I don't know, I'm guessing for like 2 months, versus this one, this is going to last you a long time. You know, it's the same thing with like Jesenia was saying before. Make things last longer. Don't like just throw everything out and get stuff. When you finally are like, okay, this is no longer useful, I'm going to recycle it. And then when you do need to get things again, invest. So yeah, I just have a quick little Kahoot thing that I just wanted to see what y'all will remember. I'm sorry if I went through that a bit faster than I would have intended or liked to have. It's just I didn't want to keep you guys I didn't want to keep y'all too much over. So can I like this? Hold on. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay.
You have to share your screen because it's still showing us the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting it ready.
Okay, just making sure.
No, you're good. Is this it? Will this do it? Hi. Cool.
Just a quick note, I am actually writing down the attendance that you guys put in the group chat. And right now I have 25 people on that list. So if you haven't put down the class that you're from, the professor that you have, now might be a good time to do that.
Yeah. I also have, before I started presenting, I was saving the chat. So hopefully you will end up on either my computer or in Kat's list. This is also 3 questions. It is not long. I just wanted to give a quick recap of my thing. So, all right. Gonna give it another minute if the number doesn't change. All right, the number oh, hello. Okay, people are so. Yeah, I'm gonna give everyone till like 5:11. Okay, I'm going to start now. Is real quick. Well, that is so loud. What is fast fashion? Yes,
Wow.
trendy clothes.
Keep
Trendy
going,
clothes
sorry.
that go. No, you're good. Trendy clothes that go quickly from the catwalk to stores. Clothes that make you go lightning fast. I appreciate the two that said that.
To be fair, that was my answer when I took this the first time too.
It sure was. Nice. Does fast fashion contribute to climate change? Yay, I'm so happy no one picked yellow.
Interesting.
Nice. All right, and then this is the last one. How can we work to ease fast fashion? They're all right answers. You can invest in long-lasting clothes. You can learn to repair clothes. You can learn what materials are high quality and / clothes. And when buying clothes, try to thrift / buy secondhand. Cool. I'm gonna go back to the presentation and. Oh wait, no, I didn't. I shouldn't go back to the presentation because then I can't. You guys can't see who won. I'm a fool. That's actually pretty funny. Congratulations, Slow Fashion. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of in love with that. All right.
Oddly
So
appropriate.
it is very oddly appropriate. Thank you. All right, and now I'm gonna. That's not what I wanted. Hello. Okay. Cool. So we were at the end of our presentation. So in between Animal Crossing and watching Tiger King, which I have been told are popular, I don't partake in either. Be mindful of your choice of your purchases. Take half an hour of your day to look at legislation, email, tweet, write your local representative, because your vote keeps them in office. Remember, it's people that make a movement. If any of y'all, my other group members, want to add on.
Yeah, so now we can take some questions if anyone has. Yes, you can ask your question. I see you in chat.
Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for the amazing and informative presentation. Second, it was Earth Day yesterday, but you know, Earth Day is every day, so happy late Earth Day to everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
True. Happy Earth Day, guys.
Yeah, happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
So my question pertains to the first part of the presentation about sustainability.
Okay.
So like in a way, can you say that sustainability in simplified terms is preparation for the future?
Yes. It's yes. That
So
is
then-
a way of simplifying it. So yeah.
In that case, can you say that resilience is reparation or response to the past? Because a lot of people compare both sustainability and resilience. So.
Yes. So that's not something I'm super familiar in, but when you take a look at the two, I know one of the arguments sort of not against sustainability, but something where it's like people are like, oh, well, we don't really need to concern now is that the human race is resilient and, you know, we'll be able to adapt. And we probably will. To be completely honest, we already have an idea of what's going to happen in the future. We know about climate change. I mean, scientists know about climate change, and we're aware of some of the negative repercussions that's going to happen. Humans are going to be able to adapt for the most part. I don't think society's really going to collapse from this, but I do think the society will struggle. And so when we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about avoiding that. Adaptability is always going to be a part of it because the environment is going to change. But ideally, we don't want to have to be relying on adaptation when we can make changes now to let us continue how we live now and hopefully live better in the future. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here, guys.
Thanks for the questions.
Yeah. If anyone else has a question, you can.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, unmute yourself or ask in chat if you don't want to speak.
Hi. So we're sorry. Thanks for the presentation. Thanks for focusing not just on like buy a reusable water bottle. You guys went really deep. Can I just ask? You said you were going to share the resources in this PowerPoint with us later.
Yes. So we are doing this for our Sustainability 401 class. So we are still going to be. We want to. Sorry, words are hard. Our group, the rest of us, are going to essentially make like this a nice, like clean list of all the resources, and we will email them out to you guys because we have your emails on file sometime in the very near future. So don't worry, this information will be accessible to you. It is also, this whole talk has been recorded and it will be on, I believe, the Earthstock webpage.
So it's going to be posted to a couple of different Facebook pages. I've put one is a Facebook page on sustainability. I'm going to post, I just need to copy the link. It's also going to be on the SoMAS page. So we'll be getting that up, and we can also post the resources as well. So we'll post both pieces of information.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so we also have a chat question that I'm going to read out loud. So the chat question is, where I am living, they plan to ban plastic bottles of 22 fluid ounces and less, and I was wondering what your opinions are.
I could go if you want to go.
Oh, yeah,
you could
sure.
go. You could go, Orlando.
Oh, okay. I'll go, and then you go. Sound good? Perfect.
Yeah.
So from a sustainability standpoint, it's good that they're working on banning plastic bottles, because those are things that it's really easy for them to end up in the environment. Even if you're like careful, you like try and recycle it, or throw it in a garbage can. Well, actually, not a garbage can. If you try and recycle it, there are a lot of times where recycling will not work the way you think it does. Actually, Jesenia, you know more about that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so as far as like banning the plastic bottles, while I do think it is good to kind of like veer people away from plastic bottles, it might make other people buy more of the less, how do I say it, like the 8-ounce plastic bottles than if they just had the 22 fluid ounces bottle. So I feel like it can be both a good thing and a bad thing. And hold on, someone asked also, are glass bottles much better? So the difference between recycling a plastic bottle and a glass bottle is that every time you recycle a plastic bottle, the quality of the material that is made of the plastic bottle is like reduced. So if you recycle a plastic bottle, it can never become a plastic bottle again. It has to be something of lesser quality. The same is not true for glass bottles. So a glass bottle can be recycled and remade to make another glass bottle, and just like infinitely amount of times. But if glass bottles do end up in landfills, they do take a long time to decompose too. The only difference is that it's much easier to recycle glass than plastic. So like when you see those t-shirts made out of plastic bottles, like that probably is like a really low quality t-shirt, and it's just, while it is like a good effort, the best way to like, I guess, if you want to buy a plastic bottle, just know that if you recycle it, it's not going to be the same if you just bought a glass bottle. So that's kind of like what I try to do. If I see like a glass water bottle and then a plastic water bottle, I'll probably end up choosing the glass bottle, just because I know the likelihood of it getting recycled into another glass bottle and its life is just being forever recycled is a lot higher. Well, it is going to be higher than a plastic water bottle.
I just kind of wanted to add to that like when making the decision whether to buy glass bottles or plastic bottles, like in your location, a lot of it's region heavy. So this is one of those times where you can kind of look up within your local municipality, like what kind of recycling programs they have. So some areas don't recycle glass bottles, and that might factor into your decisions to maybe not buy plastic bottles instead, but maybe instead of saying, okay, I can go and buy my water out of glass bottles, saying, maybe I should, bring around some sort of hydro flask or reusable container more often, because like my area doesn't recycle glass bottles, or maybe they don't recycle plastic bottles effectively either.
Yeah, every city and county recycle different types of things. Some recycle a lot, some recycle not that much. It really it's to find the information. If you just Google like your town recycling program, it should be one of the first links that pops up.
Just another thing. This is not a question. It's just they're not like significant slides. It's just this is just like at the very end when we leave, we can continue with just like we wanted to just thank some people, and that's so that's that. So please continue asking questions.
Yeah, sorry. I think what Myra's trying to say, I'm sorry, Myra.
Yeah, please refine those words.
Is that we had someone come from, she runs Do You Democracy. It is a certain organization where she kind of runs her own, she does like internships where she has some environmental advocacy going on. And I think she's a Stony Brook alumni, and she came and talked to us about, yeah, she is a Stony Brook alumni. Thank you, Dr. Ryder. I can see you nodding. She talked to us a lot about the things that I included in the advocacy at home portion. So special thanks to her. Her name is Emma Pizzuti.
Yes, and we will also list her organization. She does does fantastic work as well in this whole advocating from home with lots of different topics, but one of them is the environment. Thank you, Kat, for refining my words.
No problem.
It's appreciated.
Are there any other questions?
Can I ask one more question? Sorry.
Of course
Yeah,
you
no,
can.
go for it.
So like in stores, especially in like the electronics section, there are a lot of products that are labeled as energy saving or energy efficient or Energy Star. So like does switching to electronics that are energy efficient, does it contribute to sustainability?
Are you guys cool with me taking this one? Yeah.
Please do.
Okay, cool.
Sure.
Yeah, there is. I was going to put it in here, but it is a little more pricey. One simple thing you can do is like change your light bulbs to LEDs. Again, like it is a little more pricey, and I was kind of focusing on cheaper options. But if you do see appliances that save more energy, it is a more sustainable option. And you can do that in your home as well. It's just a little more pricey, so I didn't want to mention it in case, because I know I'm on a budget always, so yeah.
And just to add on to that, even if it's more pricey, depending on what it is, sometimes you can end up saving money anyway. So like the TV in my room has like a really high like energy efficient rating, and I didn't mean to do that, but I did, and I am on it all the time. So as compared to the amount that would have costed with electricity and how that works, it's likely saved at least, I would say, the gap in what it would have costed for a cheaper TV that isn't as energy efficient. With that said, you don't feel it right away, and there isn't really a way to know exactly how much it is unless you're like measuring it a lot. But it's one of those things where it does have an impact, both sustainably, trying to be better for the environment, and it impacts you in a more positive way economically too.
I just want to add to that. So, like, even if you can't get those, like, energy efficient items, one thing you can do is that your items, like your computer and things like that, if you leave them plugged in, they continue to draw power. So something really easy you can do, especially with multiple items, is so you can either, like, unplug certain things from the wall, or if you have multiple items, if you have a power strip, just turn off the power strip and unplug it when you're not using those items. Like if you have like a computer setup and you know that you have, like, I'm sitting in a computer setup, so I have like monitors plugged in, I have a computer plugged in, things like that. It's just in a power strip. At the end of the day, I can just turn off and unplug that power strip, and then all those items can't pull electricity anymore. So that makes a big difference too.
Yeah, one other thing to add to that is with LED light bulbs. If you get an LED light bulb, it's going to last longer than a regular incandescent light bulb. So in the end, you're going to save that LED bulb from going into the landfill much sooner, because the incandescent one is going to have to be thrown out. It's going to burn out much more quickly than the LED one.
We also have something from the chat that says, I don't think that more energy efficient always means the item is more sustainable. It's argued that electric vehicles are about just as detrimental to the environment as combustion engine vehicles due to recycling and landfill restrictions.
Oh, I actually know. Boy, I'm so excited. So it's been a while since I've had to think about this. So one issue with electric vehicles is, as this person mentioned, thank you for the question, Max, is specifically referring to the batteries. It's that at the end of the vehicle's life, that battery has to go somewhere. Batteries are very bad most of the time. I don't actually entirely know the process behind it, but it's something that you should not, there were a bunch of memes about like throwing them in the ocean. Do not throw them in the ocean. They are very bad for pretty much everything. They are not healthy things for the environment, and there is a specific way that they're supposed to be like thrown away. And a lot of people don't do it because it's hard and like you have to go out of your way to do it. So in that regard, at the end of the vehicle's life, yes. Now, here's the fun one. I remember learning about this. So what you have to look at in regards to sustainability, specifically for cars, specifically for electric vehicles, is where the energy that how you charge it, where that energy comes from. So in England, there was a huge push for these things. And what ended up happening was that England gets a lot of its power from coal. So in exchange for not burning as much gasoline, these cars were now drawing more energy from like the power plants. And so they had to burn more coal. Was it coal? I don't remember. But the point is that the amount of pollution that they had actually increased overall, because instead of burning natural gas, which just burns cleanly into like CO2 or pretty cleanly, they were burning more coal, which does not and is worse. So that was a fun little thing I got to learn about. And it was one of those things where it's, even when you're making the change, if you're trying to do good, you have to look at where you're getting your energy from, because one way or another, it's coming from somewhere, and you have to know what that is. So, yes, not all electric vehicles are necessarily more sustainable. They could be, but you have to look at where the energy comes from, because that's what's going to make the difference.
I could also talk a little bit about this too. I know that that electric vehicles, they do take a little bit more carbon emissions to produce the actual vehicles than regular ICE internal combustion vehicles, but that difference is offsetted over the course of the lifespan of the actual vehicle itself. So over the course of the lifespan, the electric vehicle uses pretty much it uses less carbon dioxide, less carbon emissions, even including the emissions that are needed to fuel the car itself, to produce the electricity to fuel the car itself. So that produces less emissions than a regular car produces over the course of its lifetime as it's driving. Also, the batteries in the electric vehicles, while yes, it is really bad, the lithium-ion batteries that are used in most electric vehicles is really bad for the environment, and you should not just like throw it out. A lot of the times, in a lot of scenarios, once the battery of the vehicle reaches about 80% capacity, once it degrades to about 80% capacity, it can be recycled and the parts can be broken down. And there's a pretty high recovery rate for the parts used in the batteries. So the parts can be repurposed into other batteries and other smaller products that can be used. So it's not so bad.
Yeah, plus just,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. I have a class, so I will be taking my leave. But thank you, everyone. I really appreciate that you all showed up, and it went really, really well, and I'm really happy about it. Thank you. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys later.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you. You can still ask us more questions if you want.
Otherwise, people can start leaving off. But I just wanted to add, this is going off of what Orlando and George were saying. Just like, if you have like a car if you have a car, don't like get rid of it and get like a new car. That contributes to waste. We really just use the things that you have to the best extent that you can. But thank you for coming to our virtual Earthstock event, and
Thank you.
And I'd just like to say thank you to our presenters.
Thank you, guys.
So thank you to Jesenia and Myra and George and Orlando and Kat. So thank you.